This is Electric Universe Eyes, and today I'm going to narrate The Great Comet Venus by David Talbott, 1997, section titled Evidence and Logic. In all of this, there is a fundamental issue of logic. How does one properly weigh the lines of evidence, the repeated convergence of comet words and symbols upon Venus? Having had many opportunities to muse over the way the experts skirt the issue, I am convinced the real question never enters their minds. Until one asks the question, did Venus formerly present itself as a spectacular comet? Even the most obvious evidences will be seen as something else, as confirmation of the recklessness and confusion of myth, another reason not to take myth seriously. The question is not asked because the Velikovskian field of study lacks all credibility in the eyes of mainstream authorities. Thus, the Mayan scholar Peter Gerelman explained the highly unnatural convergence of symbols on the celestial dragon. The primary concern of Olmec art is the representation of creatures that are biologically impossible. Such mythological beings exist in the mind of man, not in the world of nature. It's easy to see how one might draw this conclusion, but if the symbolism lacks any roots in the world of nature and is simply the result of chaotic imagination, then an even greater issue arises. Why do the same symbols continually occur in juxtaposition? Once the critic resorts to unbridled imagination as an explanation of highly specific forms, he is left with nothing but coincidence to account for the convergence. But when it comes to the convergence of all five of the world's most common cometary symbols on one celestial creature, is it reasonable to expect sheer imagination and coincidence to account for the situation? In truth, virtually all of the respected authorities continually look for natural references, because no one could seriously believe that such dramatic images as the plumed serpent could dominate an entire civilization without a link to natural experience. Only the rarest of specialists would suggest that the primitive mind conjured its primary mythical forms out of a wholesale denial of the world. In truth, if they can find even the most remote natural explanation, the experts will use it. Miguel Le Importilla, for example, offers a picturesque explanation of the Venus-Quetzalcoatl relationship. The association of Venus and Quetzalcoatl can probably be attributed to the fact that when this planet sets upon the moving waters of the Pacific, its reflection seems not unlike a serpent with brilliant scales and plumes. Here is a natural explanation that would fit easily into Bob Forrest's analysis. As if there is nothing in the plumed serpent crying out for a comparison with the highly improbable yet similar images of other peoples, and as if the combined cometary associations attract no attention. How, then, does one break through the vicious circle? Go back to the list of the 5 most frequently employed comet images, each of them occurring not only in Mexico, but in the global symbolism of the comet. How does one weigh the fact that all 5 comet glyphs are attached to the Mexican Venus? Indeed, not only the general motifs, but virtually all of the listed variations are attached to Venus. Is sheer coincidence even possible in such an extreme case as this? For starters, it needs to be understood that we are not dealing with a multiple choice situation with respect to possible interpretations. If one is permitted to include in the lexicon of comets the shooting star, whose mythical image is drawn from the same reservoir, then the only known and provable celestial phenomenon called a long-haired star is a comet. The only celestial phenomenon known to have been called a torch star or a flaming star is a comet. The only celestial phenomenon known to have been represented as a star with streaming tail feathers is a comet. The only celestial phenomenon known to have been represented as a star with a serpentine tail is a comet. That these very glyphs are consistently attached to Venus cannot be explained away by ad hoc reasoning. Now add the mythical role of the comet as the ascending soul of a former great king and the explicit role of Venus as the ascending soul of the prototypical king Quetzalcoatl, and you will begin to see what is at issue here. If nothing else, the stunning convergence of cometary images should make clear that Humboldt's guess about the smoking star Venus and a local volcano is not a sufficient answer. The juxtaposition of cometary motifs with the now peaceful planet, a planet whose appearance today could not begin to explain these associations, forces us to confront the logical alternative. If Venus did appear as a comet, the entire assembly of improbable coincidences disappears.